I'm going to put it in the wind. It's Monday, and I'm walking from basically Ladram Bay, Otterton, to Budleigh Salterton, and maybe further. I had a quick look. It's one of those things where you turn around the corner and usually you don't know what you expect. And you think, oh, am I going to see lots of... Usually it's like, oh, love that, oh, that hill, oh, God, that hill. I turned around the corner and went, oh. Which might be famous last words, but it was like, okay, that's 3 miles I can do in my sleep maybe, but we'll see. I dawdled a bit at Ladram Bay, painting and drawing not literally drawing the rocks. It wasn't like some kind of naughty Uluru type, anti-Uluru type protest, because they weren't very red, that sort of colour, red sandstone. And you can hear the quarry in the background. Fraser was like, is that thunder? Or is that some kind of range? And I was like, oh, it's... I turned that corner and I was like, oh, quarry. So yeah, the bus goes from Budleigh Salterton. It is Budleigh Salterton. I was getting it wrong in the last podcast. Budleigh Whatsit. Just call everything Sid Whatsit and Budleigh Whatsit and Sol Mouse, something Whatsit Mouse and Salcombe Whatsit. I'll do. Just like my artwork at the moment. I'll do. I'm going for abstract, and that's my excuse. So, yeah, I'm gonna walk 500 miles. Depending on when I get to Budleigh Salterton, the last bus is at 6 something. Apparently there's a pharmacy, and I keep missing pharmacies because I want to see if I can get some these. I've got those horrible, useless, normal odoritors, which one, do nothing unless you get the proper trainer ones, and two, let's try some gel insoles because it's a bit, my feeties are a bit hurting. And there's a lovely community shop in Otterton, very recommended. You can get a water refill there. And of course, as like always, it's when the shop is open, which doesn't usually help me because I always get to these places too late. And there's a pub in there. The pub looks nice. I didn't try it. The annoying thing about Ladram Bay is that I didn't realise when I was going through there and talking about that area and saying, oh, I'll come back here and paint it, which is what I've done. I didn't realise that the coastal path is the only way to it. There's a big sign on the entrance because I walked along the road back. Yeah, last night I had to walk all the way 5 miles back. That was a bit painful. I managed to walk along some trackways, which are not too bad, some old trackways. But I had to re-walk a little bit of the coast pathy bit, which was a bit uppy, but not too bad. But it was that walk up the Salcombe Hill was just like, ouch. What really didn't help was, as I mentioned on Facebook, as I was preparing myself for that, I was like, oh, well, I've got some wine. Wine helps. Especially wine plus ibuprofen. I know you're supposed to do that, but, sometimes it's like, wine, a bit of wine, ibuprofen. It's fine. And, yeah, these dogs just started attacking me. It was, this woman just didn't have control of her dogs at all. I wasn't even walking anywhere near her. I was walking sort of past, not even past her, I was walking in a different path entirely. So I was kind of walking kind of across, and she was walking towards me, but I was walking away pretty much. And you can hear when she was sort of shouting at dogs, it was like, uh-oh. And they came at me. And they were growling and being very aggressive, even though there were smaller dogs. There's 2 of them, and so I had to use my plastic wine bottle, because of course I put it into a plastic, because around Sidmouth you've got these sort of, this is a designated no alcohol area. So I was like, oh, I put some into a plastic so I didn't have aggro, and so I was swinging that at the dogs, not wanting to hurt them, but just like get away. A bit like the cows earlier, except the cows are more friendly. They did try and eat my trainers, and they did try and steal my backpack. You see, these cows, you think they're normal, you think they're innocuous, but I got my eye on you cows. Yeah, so they started munching my straps and my backpack while I was trying to do my painting. But anyway, less fun was that, and I was like, control your dog, and I could call the police. In fact, I couldn't because I had 1% on my phone. But I was just like, really? And she made some sort of about a weird comment about, oh, it's your backpack, and it's like, so you train dogs, and then I just come back from China, and I was like, it's very strange in the heat of the moment. I said, this backpack is made in America, which it is, it's Kelty. And I was like, what's China got to do with it? What's China going to do with backpacks? I'm confused. Why would the dog coming back from China? Well, the good question is why the dog was in China. Why China? And so many questions. I did not stick around to find out, but it made me so annoyed and so kind of scared in that moment. And I was just like, can I go through one of these trips without having a dog incident? I mean, we had the nice dog, Cassie the Staffy, who I got to know. We've had some other lovely dogs, some well-behaved doggos. We like doggos. Big fan of doggos. The big problem is owners. Owners can't control their doggos, and they don't want to. And they must make up these lies about, if my dog doesn't like someone, then I don't like them because there must be something wrong with them. No, you just haven't you haven't taught your dog how to behave around other people. That's an excuse. So anyway, I'll report back later. I've got a full battery pack today, so I should be able to, the previous days. The reason why there's been a flood of podcasts suddenly is just when I get some battery and signal. So it's just been, sorry about getting 3 podcasts at once, but it's just, that's unfortunately how it is. Some places, especially when I'm moving, I don't have any power. No power now. And quite often no signal. The campsite's really weird. It's like it's there for 1 minute and then next minute just getting 2G. I don't understand it. So anyway, speak to you soon. I arrived in Budleigh Salterton to find it not only half closed at the amazingly late time of 5 p.m, but they were still building it. It's weird because I've seen so many pictures of the Otterton, is it the River Otterton, Otter Estuary at Budleigh Salterton. There's lots of birds and lots of that sort of, there's wetlands and there's like a meandering river. But when I arrived, I had that clanking noise that I heard. Oh yeah. Is I'm still trying to divine the coastal path because they don't bother. Oh, there we are. Well, it's a public footpath. That doesn't mean it's the coastal path. Because of course they gave one sign in the town and then no sign since. But yeah. Let's just say I got some. All the fish and chip shops were closed because obviously Monday. Why would people want fish and chip shops on Monday? That ancient law about if you're open every day, you have to close one day of the week. Used to be traditionally Sunday. They have a lot of Sun weekend trade, so they usually close on Monday or a Tuesday. So I went to got some kebab shop cheesy chips because I promised my some chips if I continue on, and some Vimto. And yeah, I liked Budleigh Salterton so much I decided I'd rather never come here ever again. And I'm walking to Exmouth. Because I just want, partly because I want it done, but partly because if I got the bus from there at 6:30, not only do I have to hang around a kind of a version of Hastings where we've got to pay their bill. It had kind of a less classier Seaton vibe, or like Hastings but lower rent. apparently the home of Walter Raleigh. And I'm sure it was a lovely place until everyone moved there, because hence all the building work. But the thing they were building in the estuary was a bridge, sort of a footbridge across the mouth of the estuary, which is like way to go ruining it. And the other one is, the first thing I arrived into was what seemed like an industrial estate, and it turned out that was supposedly a nature reserve, which is the old bridge across. You have to walk kind of like 3/4 of a mile so from Danger Point, which the most euphemistically named thing ever. I'm sure for sailors it might be dangerous, but it was the most uneventful danger point I've ever seen. So you walk inland sort of 3/4 of a mile or half a mile, you walk over a ridge, and I arrived and found the south coast path had been closed, because what they're doing, and I assume this is what they're doing it for, is that they're doing it so people don't have to walk that little bit inland and back, not realising that I've walked a lot of the south coast, southwest or south east was the coastal path in the south, and there are places, I'm trying to remember the name of the place that I was really beautiful, but you literally have to walk about 1.5 miles in, or 2 miles in, go over a little bridge and mile out, or 2 miles out, and it's a similar kind of deal but much nicer, and certainly doesn't have cranes and clanking, and it's like, and so to make a nature reserve they've actually made it, they've landscaped it, which doesn't make any sense, or is actually, as a lot of these things are, is a hidden tidal coastal defence plan, which is when they talk about, oh, it's improvements, it quite often means, oh, if we don't do this, our homes might flood. So, but it's just like, in such a beautiful area with all these apparently very legendary for, you can see lots of bird hides, I think it's legendary for bird life and things like that. I'm sure they're not very happy about this clanking noise every 5 minutes and these cranes, and usually I'm a big fan of cranes. Well, not a big fan of them, but you know, they're part of the urban landscape. You don't expect them on the coast to walk in somewhere that's renowned for its picturesqueness. It might be because it's slightly out of season, it's 11th of September, but it's still like, I suspect they started that during season, which is a bit strange. But there's these new paths and rocks everywhere, and planting loads of trees. That's not a nature reserve if you actually are planting loads and loads of extra things. That's landscaping. That's not preserving the nature. That's kind of making it. And it looked like an industrial estate or a off ramp of a motorway. And I was just like, that was my first experience. And then I went into town, which took me a long time to find it, because it's about a third of a mile from that estuary, and it was all just endless holiday lets and houses. Eventually when I got there, I went to the pharmacy that I was thinking of getting some gel insoles. Now I had women's ones, so that was a pointless trip, and no sort of odour eaters or something like that. But I'm thinking this is going to be the end of the trip anyway, so may as well just live with the flat-footedness that will ensue. But what I've promised myself is I'll get to Exmouth and get a taxi, because that's the end of the trip. That's the end of the walk. I'll have walked all of the Jurassic Coast, and there won't be anybody there waiting and little flags or anything, but my little present to myself is a taxi home. Well, not home. That'd be very expensive. That'd be one hell of a big. Although given how much I've spent on this project, and zero return, it probably would have been just as cheap, probably, to take a taxi every day from London to each bit I want to do. Probably. Given the gear and the campsites and all that shit. I expect it probably would have been cheaper to hire somebody with a car. And do it all in one go. Well, I couldn't have done it all in one go. This is the thing. I was thinking about this thing. If I got up earlier today, if I did this or that, and I was like, well, no, because my feet need to rest, and I might dawdle a bit in the morning and didn't get off the campsite till 11. I woke up at 6, and there was awake for ages because it was so cold. Another reason why I was like, because Tuesday night's going to be even colder, and tonight's going to be the same as last night, but it was the official weather, which is bullshit, because it was supposed to rain at 3, didn't. I had a few spots earlier, as well, and 4 or 5. We're supposed to then rain constantly until nearly 11, and it stopped at 10, and this area does not conform to even the hyperlocal weather systems. But yeah, if it's going to be colder, I would expect that to be different tomorrow night. Last night was okay. I made a mistake. I got too hot in my down sleeping bag and I took off, because it's kind of weird. Sometimes you want to have a layer between you and the bag. Sometimes it depends on the bag and depends on the situation. Sometimes it actually gets in the way if you put too many clothes on. The reason why people feel cold in sleeping bags is quite often they've got in there fully clothed. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to get a rating that's good for where you are, and then allow your I don't know which way is which. Just this public footpath. I'll follow it. I'm just following the coast. It's not going to get lost around Exmouth. And again, famous last words, but we know where the coast is. We just follow the coast. We'll hit Exmouth. And so far, it's very much like not a coast path. It's as I thought it might be. It's just like some kind of park path. I looked it on the map and thought, that's 4 miles, and also it doesn't feel very strenuous. But the strenuous bit was the hill I just went up there. But we shall see. But I'd much rather never go back to Budley, because I was like, it's one of those places where, as I say, a long time ago, I'm sure it was lovely. But I took a picture of. It's the home of Sir Walter Raleigh, I think. There was lots of St Walter Raleigh references. And the funny thing was, I took a picture of one of the... You have all these boats everywhere that, they're sort of Spudley in bloom, with, boats with flowers in, and there's a paddle on. When I took a picture, I was thinking, oh shit, Creek without a paddle, and it was like, I saw all the stuff about Walter Raleigh, including Millais painted the boy called Raleigh was painted it, which is probably the reason why I know it, actually. Probably one of the reasons why I know Budley Salterton. The other one would be Walter Raleigh. But I was like, oh, this is the shit that Raleigh got the fuck out of here on. No wonder he went touring the world. If you ever visit Budley Salterton, you will see. Yes, it is. We're on the right path. Good. I could guess that. Oh, and it's a woodland walk. Oh, we know how we love these, but I can just march through these. I don't think we're in Undercliff, but it's very similar to Undercliff. It's fine because it's cool. Just don't fall over a tree stump. But yeah, so we'll see. I can always bail inland. I hope I don't end up having to do 2 taxi journeys, but there are buses to Exmouth. The only problem is that, as I said, you can get Exmouth, you can get a train from Exmouth to Exeter and then get the 9 back. I need to double check on the times on that, but I think those buses leave quite early in the night. Obviously when I get them, it's well down the line, so they're quite late. But I think the one I get that's 8 o'clock at the 9A, but there's no fucking way I'm walking up that hill again like I did last night. That's just like too much. Whichever way, bailing to a bus and then finding a bus that links up, I'm not going to walk up that hill, which might be famous last words, but I will shell out for a cab for that, because I just, the end is in sight. I need to preserve my feet, and that hill is just, it was just, when I realised there was fog at the top, I was like, shit, because I had to then put the white torch on, and then hope the motorists, which there was surprisingly a lot, even though it's a little tiny road, going up, it's a back road, and it was like quite late, 9 at night. There was quite a few of those minivans going up there. Probably people going back to the campsite but not giving me a lift, probably. I bumped into a couple of people from the campsite who were very nice, who didn't know that I was the person. One of them had seen me painting on the last podcast, the one of the church afternoon, and they was like, oh, did you really live in that little tent? And I'm going, I've got one smaller. That's always the question. These people live in these massive, like 4, 6, 8 people tents, these palace tents, and the caravans and things. I was like, oh, do you really live in that? It is possible to live in a small space and not take up lots of space like you're doing. It's a mindset. But yeah, so hopefully we'll get to Exmouth later tonight, and I'll take a view about what I'm doing. I might even find a nice late night meal. Well, not that late night, I think it's 4 miles. And if it's going to be like this, I'm going to do it in a few hours, because that was a surprising thing. I didn't set off to about 3 from Ladram Bay, and I was at Danger Point an hour later, and then at Budley Salterton about 5, so that's 2 hours, and that's 3 3/4, I think, or 3.5. So it's reasonable to expect to do this in 2, so I'll get there before it's dark. But we've got some overage, and I've got my head torch. I don't want to be going over unknown paths at night, but I've noticed there's so much intersection with roads and parks and things. Although there's weirdly a range in one part of it, which I might have to go around. It's one of the points is a range, but the depends how they're firing. But yes, not impressed by Budley Salterton, and so let's press on and finish this project.